Hey, welcome to another episode of Sleazy Sports. And today I'm joined by Sishle, Byron, Magic Mike. What's happening,
Yeah,
gents?
what's up?
Yo, X has it.
I know, easy, standard. I'm okay, guys. Ish. Even though, this weekend was just a bad weekend for me. Went to the stadium, went to go watch the Bucks, only for
Sure.
them to get their asses kicked. Orlando Pirates as well. They lost to an amateur coach, which is for me embarrassing. And then you have the almighty Manchester United, who aren't mighty at all, getting yeah, we're getting schooled by Brighton, guys. Can you imagine? So I just
Nah, but
wanted
I
us,
think the
It's
the
yeah.
Brentford,
the
dude.
Man United
It's
L
Brentford, dude.
was
Oh, bro, Brentford.
Brentford.
Sorry, it's just Brighton have
Are you
beaten
still
me
thinking
so
about
many
last
times.
week's hiding, Joe?
Shame.
Well,
X, you've
sorry
been through
about
the most. You've been through the
Brentford.
most, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. In your view, Byron, I know what Sisha and Mike are gonna say. They're just gonna banter me, but I just wanted to ask you, from your perspective, like, did you expect Man United to be this poor?
No, I mean, honestly, truthfully speaking, I think I play in a prediction league as well, where I call what we bet on all 10 fixtures and multiply. I had you guys down as a one. I thought you would have turned it around. I think the massive things that you need to focus on was I've never seen De Gea play so bad in my life. I think his decision making was poor, the passes were poor, and it just puts you constantly on the back foot. On top of that, you've been lacking midfielders for the longest time, and the young thing is just dragged out too far. It's at the point where you really, really need that spine in the team, and you've been lacking that for so long. I'm glad that Pogba's left United. I think he was real like poison for the team. Quality player, but really just performs for his country and not so much for United. But I think it's one of those things, like everything in life, that it comes in cycles. But United just need to transition and go through a period of growth, just like Liverpool had to when they had John J. Voldemort and Spearing in their midfield
Yes,
before they got to where they are now. So
dude.
I think it's just a case. I mean, like at the end of the day, you've got the supporters, you've got the club, you've got the legacy of Manchester United. So I think it's a matter of time, but it's a question of getting the players in. You know what I mean? I know you looking in the transfer window now. You must say to yourself, how the hell are we linked with Arnautovic? We Manchester United. You know what I mean? But that's where it's gotten to. But in a manager like Ten Hag, I think he really impressed me when we played against Ajax in the Champions League. The football that they played against us was impressive, and I'm hoping he can instill that into the team. I think it's too soon to get on the fire Ten Hag bus because we know how old and rickety that United team is and how much depth you still need as a squad. So I think as a manager, he's got the ability. I think he just needs to get back and get the right players in. But that's going to take time. And
Yeah,
at this point in time, you can't judge him. Like I was one of the only people that were telling Arsenal fans that you need to give Arteta time. Look how that's turned. Have you seen the stadium? Have you seen how that team is playing? I mean, you just have to give coaches some time. I think football's gotten to the point where it's too focused on instant success and no longer about building a club up, like what Pochettino did at Spurs while we were still trying to transition. I know we dipped after that, but I mean, like what he achieved on a shoestring budget was impressive. So I think you honestly just need to play it out and have faith in the manager. But I mean, it's hard to do so when you have found players that are going to make a big difference for United. So it's going to be a tough one. I don't think you'll end up at the bottom half of the table, even though your results have said otherwise thus far. I
yeah,
think you just need to give it some time. But
yeah.
I think
Mike,
I think I,
yeah.
I disagree with you on that. The Brentford L, I solely put the blame on the manager. I rate the manager. He's a decent manager, and he is the manager to take Man United to the promised land. But his decision making this past weekend left me with a suspect. Two decisions on players. Maguire starts. Maguire is crap. I think we are all in agreement with that. He doesn't deserve to wear the armband. He is yeah, he's not as hyped up as everyone makes him out to be. And yet he still continues to play 90 minutes. Bruno, let's address Bruno. Bruno has had a horrid time when the board decided he deserves a new contract whilst he was still contracted to you guys. There was no pressure from anybody to go right ahead and force that move that you should double this guy's wages. The only person who I think benefits from this is his agent and Bruno himself.
Yeah.
Man United have now created this monster who is, I don't know what's happening, whether he doesn't have competition, is he not driven, or what's going on with him. So those two players, I solely on the manager. And playing what's his name, Christensen in that CDM role. He's never played that particular role. It's a very defensive role, and it just didn't work out. And then the weirdest part is history from 2012 will tell you De Gea doesn't know how to play from the back. It just ends there.
Yeah. I know, but besides him not knowing how to play from the back, that first goal, bro, like, did you see?
No, I think that's a fluke goal. That can happen to any top goalkeeper. It happens ever so often. Concentration levels, blame it on whatever. I rate David. David is an elite goalkeeper. He just had a horror show, but I think that set the tone going forward, where the second goal he's to blame for it. And I think the fourth goal, Sancho, sorry, I forgot about Sancho. Sancho is one player I have in my fantasy league, and I only realized in the second half that he actually started the game. I didn't realize in the first half that Sancho played.
Yeah.
And he got me 1 point.
1 point.
One point.
That's good, bro. That means it helps me because, I'm trying to get that pool. I'm trying to get that August pool. Yeah. And then you, Magic Dog, what's your take? You've been smiling, bro.
Nah, I think at the end of the day, right? I think for us as fans to actually believe in a manager, right? You need to try out, like, if you're gonna tell me go to in a building phase and you're trying out youngsters, nah, I'm more likely to be patient, right? But if you're playing the exact same guys that essentially flopped last season, then it's like, okay, shit, then what are you doing differently to what the previous managers were doing? You know what I mean? I think it's easier to believe in what's this transition period if, like, you are trying new things and you're playing youngsters. You know what I mean? I can believe with, okay, shit, we're going places. I mean, if let's say the youngsters were playing right in a quarter 4-0, it wouldn't be as big because then it's like, okay, shit, we're giving them time.
Yeah.
You know. But other than that, yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. I think even Chelsea got hammered by Brentford, I think last season. So I think these things happen, but then at the exact same time, I think Ten Hag needs to change the setup, dude. Like, put up the team that people can believe in. You know what I mean? Not have the exact same people that flopped last season playing, essentially.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Mike. I think also these top tier managers tend to get arrogant that they can change certain players. The Man United bunch have time and time again shown that they're not interested. I don't know whether it's a cultural thing now, where they're comfortable with the packages, and they know that board is struggling signing players. So renewal is on the cards. Because I looked at the lineup, and I promise you, in the lineup, I counted 7 players that don't deserve to wear that jersey.
Yeah.
And that's the starting 11. I counted 7 players that I was like, nah.
Yeah.
So I think what Ten Hag needs to do for Liverpool, and it's going to be a huge
let's
ask.
Let's not even go there, dog. Like, dog.
He needs to do what Mike has just said. He needs to do what Mike has just said. Look at the devs team.
Yeah, I just have a question for you guys. Do you think Ten Hag is giving these players a rope to hang themselves with at
Nah, I
first?
doubt it, because it's career
So
suicide
that,
for him. For
yeah,
he's literally
but I don't think
if
there's
he's
any
doing
pressure
that,
on Ten Hag. I don't think
nah,
there's
there
any
is.
pressure on Ten Hag. I don't think so,
Nah,
bro, at all.
nah.
To a point where even your Rios and your Skulls and your Nevils, they are not talking about the manager. They're talking about the players. They're talking about the Glazers. In previous with our previous managers, people would always talk about how how, like, for instance, with Ralph. Remember when Ralph said it's open heart surgery, we need 10 players. Then
And
everyone, including Sky
so
Sports, jizzed and they were like, this guy's talking out of his ass. Now they can see what this man was actually talking about,
no,
and
but
Well,
how
if
they cleaning
what
up
does he?
the
So
all of a sudden.
what
Yeah,
does he get? What does he get from proving that he's got shit players? Meanwhile, the two last managers have told him that, or have told us that. Well, like, what
yeah.
does he get out of it?
Well, us United. Okay, I won't say me because I'm a unique United fan. I'm a football supporter first before I'm a Manchester United supporter. I believed Ralph in everything he said because this is a guy who's responsible in building teams like Leipzig and Salzburg. So clearly, he knows what he's talking about. And a lot of the fan base, Manchester, how gullible the Man United fan base is, to a point where I have Chelsea and Tottenham and a Tottenham fan here. I don't have any other Man United spectator with me, It's just they we I just feel like a lot of our fans are still living in the past, Fergie days, glory days. Things have changed. Shit has changed. We're in the fourth industrial revolution now. We now need to adapt. We're in a systems era where teams with the best systems are the ones that are winning major trophies, and
Hmm.
who are dominating world football, and so this thing of us being stuck in the past is one of the reasons why, I just feel the pressure on the board it hasn't been put there, and I think the fixture next week against Liverpool, bro, Liverpool are gonna slap us.
Nah,
Like
I
if
don't
you
think
got
so.
Salah,
I don't think so.
you don't think so?
But, no, I don't.
I think
But
Salah will
back
try
to
to
your
be
manager.
disrupted for
But back to your
fantasy.
manager.
Yeah,
If he is giving these players a rope to hang
yeah,
to hang themselves, he's then he's literally cutting his nose to spite his face. Of which I don't.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think he's gone in
Yeah.
arrogantly, and the preseason fooled him into thinking he's onto something, and yeah, look where we are.
Yeah. But you see,
Everyone
Matt.
had mentioned it that
Yeah, but match. I
preseason
agree with you.
preseason.
Yeah, no. Besides preseason, Jay, I just feel like what homeboy, who's this Rannick, said is just coming to fruition now. Hence, there is no pressure on Ten Hag. Even when you go on Sky Sports, they're just showing you what again. I saw what again on ESPN. Because I also do watch ESPN for soccer. I saw they were talking about how Ten Hag was so upset because Brentford ran, I think, 8.5 miles more than Manchester United. And he made the team, do those drills. You know how it is when we play sports. When you get piped by another team, your coach gets upset and says, you know what, you guys are going to do lunges, you guys are going to do squats, you're going to run around the field. So
True.
essentially, that's
Yeah.
what he did, But, I just don't think our players are fit enough to even run 10Ks, A young vitality race, those discovery races that we normally have. I just feel like United players aren't even fit enough to run that shit.
I
But
think
yeah,
most people disregard Brentford. Do you know that Brentford, I think, leading into your game, were sixth on the table for the calendar year in terms of form? They're a formidable team that played
Yeah.
very well against Spurs. They gave us a horrid time. They made it extremely difficult, and we were actually lucky to win. They're a very well compact and organized team that make it extremely difficult for any of the top teams to try and expose weaknesses. And honestly, you just didn't have the players for the part. But I mean, I agree with you that you need to take both of you, Cichle and Mike, in terms of how you need to take a chance on youth. But I mean, in terms of the players that they have United right now, can you name any of the youth players that could play back against a team that's sixth in terms of form?
No,
Do
I
you know?
mean, look, you can put in, like, you got Martinez, put him in there, put Varane. Maguire, he's been shit, dude, for the
Yeah.
last 24
You need
months. You know what I mean?
I think he's good enough to play in a 4-4-2. You need two quality.
Nah, but thing is, if you're gonna play a high pressing game, right, you're gonna need people that at the back that are actually quite fast and got good recovery pace. Maguire doesn't have that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even if you
You
had
need-
to try maybe, because look, Wan-Bissaka is not great at going forward. But what if you had to convert him into a defender, like a full-time centre back? Like, try something new.
He doesn't have a first touch. That's the
Hmm?
other
Yeah.
thing. And the asking
Yeah,
right
but
now is for
he's
him
got
to have
recovery
that
pace.
first touch.
You never know. What I'm saying is that try something new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try
Yeah.
something that hasn't been tried before. But don't
True.
go out and you play the exact same people week in, week out that have flopped last season, and then you're going to require the fans to be patient with the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, the process is starting to look suspect. I think I mentioned this when we looked at we did our prediction. I said 5 games in. I think Man United had a very tough first 5, and a lot of people didn't really think about it. You had Brighton, Brentford, Liverpool. I think next you're playing Southampton, and I can't remember the fifth match.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think I asked you, X, I said, out of the 5 first games, because I think that gives you a fair reflection as to where the side might be going. How many would you be happy winning? And you said 3. You are 2 games in, and you've lost all 2. So that means you must win the next coming 3. And you said it yourself. You don't see yourself winning against Liverpool. But I think Liverpool is going to be the change. It's going to be that tipping point where everything changes for you. Because if you get piped, like proper pipe, like when Liverpool is on song and they give you like 6, that's going to hurt. And going forward, there's going to be question marks around the manager. But if you win against Liverpool, hold on. And I'm sorry, allow me to speak from the outside. I'm just looking in. I don't know what you guys talk about when you're all alone. And then you've got Southampton. Southampton, it's one of those sides you never really know what you're going to get. Southampton can lose like 6-0 and then go on like a 5-winning game streak. You don't want to be the 4th game after they've lost 6-0. So pressure on the manager, there is.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think there's much pressure on the manager personally. Sorry,
You know,
Byron?
it's been a legacy since Mourinho. Like Mourinho even said, one of his greatest achievements at United was
finishing second. Yeah.
This has been a constant issue for United. Like, it's either a culture issue, like CJ said earlier, where there's a problem with the board, there's a problem with the underlying company. The players don't look like they want to play. The players, there's no passion, there's no hunger, there's nothing there. You know what I mean? You're missing heart in that team. And sometimes a manager comes it in. I can see that with Conte. He's brought in he's brought in a different mentality. Like under Mourinho and Nuno, we were terrible. There was no heart. There was no fight back. Like immediately, he brought a sense of like a different like mentality that the players could play for or fight for. And I mean, I haven't seen that yet from United, and I don't know what the cause is. I think it goes beyond just players. I think it's like a poison that's there in the club that needs to be changed.
Yeah, and speaking about a poison, I see Chelsea yesterday's game. They were really struggling for goals. Like, I wish. Wouldn't you guys want Ronaldo? You know, bro. Like,
No.
For 10 million.
I think Ronaldo.
You know
what
Chelsea needs
he's toxic, and I don't. My club is very fragile right now. We are in a rebuilding stage, and we don't need Ronaldo's influence. I think one player that we could go for is Aubameyang. I always get it wrong. But just back to comparing Spurs and Man United, unfair as it is. Spurs were losing, and Conte looked at the bench, and he had a solid freaking bench. He brought on Richarlison. He brought on who's that Brighton boy? I forgot his name now.
Basuma.
Those are players that could change games for you. And guess what happened? Game was changed.
No,
You look
100%.
at you look at Man United. Hold on, let me finish my point. You look at Man
We
United.
controlled that
Man United
game.
is-
We
hold on.
controlled that game too. We controlled that game.
we'll get to the point.
Controlled that game.
Let's
There's
hear
no
what
Mike,
he
let
has
me
to
finish-
say, Mike.
changes.
Let me
Yada,
finish my
yada.
point.
Yo,
Now,
Yeah.
Ten Hag is losing 4-0. He looks at the bench. Who does he have? He's got Ilanga. He's got
Don't even
who's the
talk
other
about
player?
Ilanga, bro. Yes.
So it's chalk
Yo.
and cheese. And
No.
and I think we've spoken about this.
Out of context, my comparison is last year. Conte came in with the same problem. He had Oliver Skip and Winks on the bench, and he
True.
brought a different mentality. Don't
Yeah.
confuse saying now and comparing Man United, because you're wrong. I'm comparing Conte last season, halfway through the season, with the same shit players that were performing shit, and changed the mentality. That's my point.
I hear you. And the sad part is the Man
tell
United
us
squad
what he-
was a 400 million squad with a 100 million bench, and the Brentford squad is a 25 million squad.
Yeah,
But
see, bro,
Brentford had
I
more
did-
heart. Brentford had
But I
more
did-
heart than Man United.
But I did say that we're a state-owned entity, dog. We just don't know how to distribute the funds accordingly, bro. It is what it is, and it's evident. I mean, that's what happens when you have no philosophy. That's what happens when you have no director of football. Look at Spurs. Conte came in, of course, he got you to top 4, but then director of football, he has a director of football, a guy who he speaks to. And how many signings have you guys made, Byron? You guys have made solid signings. Richarlison
Spurs
is coming
made
off the bench,
signings.
dog.
Spurs made signings as soon as the window was open. That's
Ooh,
something Daniel Levy never
Tough.
does.
I've
You
never
see what
seen
I'm saying? Yeah.
never seen where like we were always the club that were trying to sign players like when the transfer window was ending. So there's no time for the players to transition, come into the club, find their feet, find a rhythm, get used to the players. Like Conte and the director of our football came in, did the business, got players signed in, and you know what? Like realistically, the biggest thing for me is when I watch my team, and then you see the holes in your team, right, where we're lacking depth. If we're signing the players that we need, that's great. Like, I mean, often you looked at United and they were signing players and you're like, but that's not who they need. They need fucking midfielders, need defenders. Do you know what I mean? Like when the club is on board with what you're seeing that's wrong with your team or where you're lacking, and they start signing players, you start to say, okay, thank God, I can believe in what's actually happening here. I mean, granted, yesterday Chelsea were by far the better team, but I've noticed that we're at least improving. Like I think in our last 3 games against Chelsea, like Conte said in his after-match interview, there was zero chance of us winning those games. At least we've somewhat narrowed a gap. Chelsea was still the far better team, but we've narrowed a gap somewhat. We had the ability to bring on players like Sihle said, a Richarlison, a Basuma, a Perisic, who all contributed to making some form of a difference, even though there was a lot of controversy and a lot of shit that we can talk about. But I'm just saying, in terms of what Conte was saying, I see that we're making progress and we're improving, and I'm grateful for that. At least I think Chelsea, I think City and Liverpool are ahead of both of us dramatically, but I think Chelsea are much closer to them than Spurs and Arsenal are, for instance.
True, but I'll ask a quick question. It's a quick question, and I'm tired of speaking about Man United. The 3 players that you mentioned from the bench, Richarlison, Bissouma, and Pulisic. Do you think those 3 players, do they start for Man United, or are they team, or they sit on the bench, starting 11?
They would start.
They start easily.
They start.
That's how you. But that's how you weigh. Oh, sorry, Byron. Oh.
Perisic left back, easy fit in there, and obviously Richarlison up front. I mean, who's their focal point up front? Ronaldo
and Bissouma, and I know Mike has said this. He said it like 2 seasons ago. Why don't you go for Bissouma? He was cheap. How much was it? 25 if not 30 mil. Yeah.
I think with add-ons there might be add-ons. I think it was 25 or 30, bro.
Yeah, and even what Matt is saying. Yeah.
Every time we played against Brighton, he was that player that just made life a living hell. Do you know what I mean? Like he was just a baller in the midfield, broke up play, was great going forward, and he's got an incredible strike on him from time to time. And like I watched him, do you know what I mean? Watch him and you just say, shit, this boy's quality. You know what I mean? He belongs in a better. So I'm
And
happy. I think
he's a huge upgrade from McFred.
Yeah,
but yet the Man United board doesn't see that.
Yeah, as you can see what Match is saying, yeah, bro. It's like Spurs have a plan, like most teams. United have been moving on brand alone for years now. And
so the weird thing about that, I was reading an article on this what's going on with Man United, because you're trying to like figure out exactly what the problem is. Basically what the Athletic had said was back in the day, well, not back in the day, ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, Man United have been able to get away with murder in that they could attract all the big players. They will just throw money at the problem, hoping that it will fix the problem. But now you're getting at a point where these young players are not actually looking at the money. They're more focused on their career, because the trajectory is going to go, if they have a very good team, Champions League and whatnot. Man United is far from Champions League. I don't think Man United is going to make Champions League for the next coming 2 seasons. And now the same players that would have taken the money before, the Man United money the board was throwing around, they're refusing the money and they have nothing to offer, which is very weird for them, because what's the plan afterwards? If your player doesn't want money, doesn't want to come there, or doesn't believe in the project that you are trying to rebuild, because unfortunately it is a rebuild project. It's a huge rebuild project. It has to start from top.
Yeah. We just need to start, dog. We just need new owners, guys. Like, which is, that they
now, even with new owners, I feel your squad, something needs to change there. New players can come right now. But there's also an argument as to who can afford Man United, because the Saudi money is gone.
There's a lot of Saudi ninjas out there, bro, that we don't know. We don't know. I know this gang. There's a squad. These guys started their own golf. You know the LIV. Have you heard of it, Byron? That golf tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Is it the same tournament that Tiger Woods turned down 700 million?
Bro, I'm telling you now, if we would go on sale, so many people want to buy Man United, bro. And for serious squad, we'll just look at
I think the first thing in Man United, if you've got new oil money, you'd have to go and buy Neymar and Messi, and solve whatever the issues are going on there. Because I think right now your squad is it's not even a mid-tier squad, hey?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, but you know what? If we would get a proper consortium, we just sort out the structures at the top, get a director of football, Paul Mitchell. You know Paul Mitchell, right, Byron? What he did to your team as well. Paul Mitchell and Pochettino, when they were together, they changed Tottenham on a shoestring budget, So if we can get him, and I don't even mind Ralph coming back, because I like his honesty. I appreciate his honesty, man. You guys to be honest about everything that goes on, and we would move in the right direction. But guys, I feel like we've spoken about my team for way too long.
Last one. The weird part is if Ten Hag fails at Man United, he has to go back to the Dutch league, because I don't see him anywhere else.
I know. I think I do see him in somewhere else. I think he's in demand, even if he fails.
I think if they fire him 10 games in, it's going to be a very loud decision if they do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about United.
Enough about my depressing team. Let's talk about yesterday's game. I even called Mike when you guys were leading 1-0. I was like, y'all are cruising. Y'all are on the N1. Going to N1 at night after peak hour, just cruising, passing the ball. Ball possession at one stage was 70-30. I was like, you know what? You guys are doing well. Then my boy Hobier came through with a strike. And what I like the most entertaining part of the game is the managers, man. Shit.
and remember, we in game week 2. We only in game week 2, and already it's fire all over the place.
It was good to see it. You know what I mean? From a footballer's perspective, a neutral's perspective, good to see that fire passion, it really means that they give a fuck. Like they really care. So
Yeah.
that it wasn't malicious. I understood both viewpoints, like Conte and Tuchel's points of view. So it was good to see that hunger. You know what I mean? You don't want a manager that's just going to sit there and do nothing or say nothing. You know what I mean? You want a manager that's like passionate about the club, his team, his play.
And then quick question, guys.
Hmm.
If Ten Hag and Conte would have to like fight one another, boxing match,
Oh, Tuchel.
who's your money on? Who's your money
Tuchel.
on?
Now I'm
Tuchel.
giving it to Tuchel. That height advantage. You saw how he reached the height advantage.
Mike Tyson was short, bro. Mike Tyson was a short boxer, bro.
Conte looks good.
Yeah, if they had to go pound for pound, I'd give it to my man Tuchel. And you saw where he was flexing in the thingy post match interview.
Yeah. Guys, I'm with Byron, bro. I'd give it to
Conte, boy.
Conte, man. Conte looks like he comes.
Nah,
from
but
a
I
rough
think
school.
Conte might win if if we've got the same refs as we had in the game. Then Conte might win.
Yeah. But anyway, like, of course, we'll start off with Byron, dog. Like, you guys like, just a question for you, Byron. Did you believe that your team was gonna get a result, even though Chelsea were in cruise control?
No, I mean, like going into the game, I mean, obviously, as much as Conte has been with the club, I mean, we've been able to pull results against City and Liverpool last season. So I know Stamford Bridge has been one of the hardest places for us to come to. They've always performed, they've always done well there. It's been such a difficult place for us to come. So I wasn't expecting a result, but I would have taken, I would have bitten your hand off if you told me we were going to get a point at Stamford Bridge. And I mean, as the game went on, I kept saying, like, I would be grateful for a draw, yeah, because I mean, there's no denying that they were the clear favourites going into the game. They were clear favourites during the game because they suffocated us. They played better than us. I mean, Sikle, you were saying like you need a focal point as a striker, but I think having an additional midfield there just helped you break
us, yeah.
down and destroy us during the game. It was almost like playing against City and Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? They were first to every second ball. They were superior in terms of their passing. We were sluggish and slow in certain areas and just not good enough from that perspective. But I think obviously the controversial points in the game, the hair pulling thing obviously should have been a red. I don't know how that was not. I mean, like VAR's come in and it's done. No, there's been no like. This caused more controversy. Any clear cut decisions. Do you know what I mean? You left baffled by certain decisions. Because I mean, like, honestly, I don't think you would have seen that in clear sight by the ref or the linesman, possibly. You know what I mean? Because there's like 10 people tussling 10 people in a box. You know what I mean? It's difficult to see that. But I mean, if we're going to talk about Tuchel's post-match interview, that challenge on Kai Havertz, I mean, neutral's perspective, because I know Chelsea boys will say that's a foul. Do you believe that was a foul?
I do.
Well, I
do.
Wait, can I go see?
I don't care about you, X. I don't care about you, X.
Relax.
I know what a Chelsea fan is going to say. You're a football player.
For me, he started with the ball, bro. He started with the ball. And so for me, it's not a foul, bro. If you start with the ball.
That's where I lie.
Yeah,
but I think
more about the hair pulling and possibly Richarlison being in the line of sight more than that challenge. If you play football and you've put in a challenge like that, 10 times out of 10, Sikle, you're going to say no foul. Because you know why? Because we're not playing netball, we're playing football, my son.
So you know what? You know the irritating part about that tackle. Hold on, Mike. The irritating part of that tackle was in two parts. The first part is he had a nibble at the player, but Kai didn't fall. He was strong. The second part is when he literally slid from the side and he took him out, and that was a foul.
From what angle did you get those? Did you watch see how much ball he gets? The ball clearly looking at the ball from a diagonal perspective. If the ref was standing behind the player, you could argue that's a clear foul because it looks like that from behind. The ref's got a diagonal view of the player's foot hitting the ball before it hits the player.
That's why he was like, play on.
Yeah, but I think
Mike.
The reason why people are just focusing on those two incidents, man. I mean, dude, I don't get it. Like, you know what? We should have won that game 4-0, Joe. To be honest with you. There are cows up front with it. And the sad thing is that even like Reece James goal, when he got on one, I believe in my defenders in scoring more than my forwards too. That's a sad thing. Like I believe when I saw Reece James go one-on-one, like go in, I was like, I know it's a goal. You know, likes of Sterling, cow in front of goal. Exact same thing. He should have bagged that chance, dude.
Yeah, the one way it
He
went
should
over
have
the
bagged
bar.
that chance, dude.
It's the same thing with Kai.
If you
That
put
cross
Reece
that came in
James
from Reece.
in the exact same situation, net.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sterling
That's
thought it was
exactly
an
Exact same
endless pass.
situation. Kai Havertz, if you put Reece James in that exact same situation, net. You know what I mean? I think from what I've seen with the boys yesterday, I think dude, we could challenge for the league. Like, I believe in this team, Joe. Like after seeing him play yesterday, I believe in him. Problem is forward line cows.
You need a focal point. You need a striker.
It's
That's the
not
only
about
thing.
the focal point. It's like if you get like wingers that are banging in goals, similar to how Ian Robin was doing it at Bayern Munich, like people that know how to finish. You know, and I think Sterling, yes, he's great, but then finishing is whack, dude. Like, guy, man.
And Kai needs to work. Kai needs to work on his finishing, eh? But just on Kai, I enjoyed how fired
he
up he
played
was for
well.
the game.
Finishing wise,
Yeah, because did you see that miss where Reece James hit him with
cross
a
that came in?
$1 million cross? Bro, that was supposed to go into the back of
like when you got to the end of that, I was just expecting the net to bulge and nothing happened. I was like,
you
how
see,
that?
if Spurs had the exact same chance, whether it's Kulusevski,
they did. Kane missed it.
Or Son, net. Especially if it's Son, because for me, Son, man. Son knows how to finish, especially in these big games, man. He just, it would have been a goal. But yeah, you are right, Mike.
We need BMT players up front, bro. Like if I look at it and I'm like, okay, shit. If you had a D, a Drogba in there, that would probably be net. You know, we need guys that actually know how to score. And I mean, the problem
Diego
is that
Costa, those
so
type of
far
players.
this season, 2 games. The goals have came penalty from Gigino. K2 scored Reece James. What the hell is our forward line doing up front?
Creating those chances.
What are they doing?
Chances, but no one that's burying them. That's the problem.
That's no, I totally agree with you guys on that. And I think Conte always shows passion.
The position, yeah.
No, I think, and I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Spurs, but I'll talk about Spurs. The old Spurs, had we scored first, they would have, like at the bridge, they know what's happening, and we pipe them, and then that's it. But this Spurs is different.
Yeah,
and that's the scary part.
I disagree, dude.
The options they have.
Yes, they've got options, but like, dude, we put in the old Chelsea front line about Diego Costa, about Drogba. The chances that these guys had, dude, like we had. I mean, even Gallagher's chance, but one flopped. You know what I mean?
No,
but
I think,
come on, guys, like you guys need to start doing better up front. When last do we have like forward line that has scored at least 20 goals in a season?
After the game, I said, watching game, I said, it feels more of a win for Spurs than it is a draw for Chelsea.
Of course. Yeah,
of course. But that's exactly, I agree with Sihle, bro. Like the Spurs of like last season and the Spurs of previous seasons wouldn't have come back from you guys going up or you guys going up 2-1 or had the mentality to keep on fighting. We would have rolled over and it would have been, okay, tough day at the bridge. Do you know what I mean? Like we've, number one, got the depth and we've at least got some form of mentality to think that we can come back and score. Granted, we were the second best team on the day, but he's bringing a different dimension in terms of how our players approach games. So
second best, and you still walked away with a point. Fucking hell.
I mean, that's a vital point at the bridge, and our players are going to go into the next game more energized from the fact that we were able to pull something out of the grave from that game. So
Sky article headed as it's a statement game for both clubs.
Yeah.
And Chelsea first half showed up, second
Mhm.
half showed up, but they didn't take their chances. And guess what happened? The officiators felt they need to give an upper hand twice to Spurs, and Spurs walk away with the point. And yeah, it speaks more to Spurs than it does to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yep.
know they do. Even at the end of the game, you saw how the players were also like how
Ah,
Pursuba
I agree.
like
Are you reading what Mitch saying?
yeah,
It's I think Spurs is going to challenge if we're not careful. The top four is going to be the trickiest it's ever been. And when I
Yeah.
say top four, I'm talking, sorry, top four from second, because I think I watched City. City is running away with the league. From second, from Liverpool, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs.
And Arsenal.
Oh, and you have to include Arsenal in the conversation, because if Arsenal can keep what's his name, Jesus fit, oh,
yo, bro.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's Ekley, I couldn't agree more. I think, you know what, number one, always happy when the league is more competitive. I think over the last few seasons, we haven't given City and Liverpool much
yeah,
competition.
yeah,
Like now, I believe, like as much as I'm terrified to play against City and Liverpool, I'm more confident in those games now than I have been for the longest time. And I think you guys are the same. Like I don't think that we are better than them. I think they're still leagues ahead of us. But I think we're starting to see movement in our teams in the right direction where we're starting to narrow the gap that's been gigantic for the longest time. So personally, I'm confident that the season is going to be another banger where we go into the end of the season where it's going to
it
be
could
good.
be a point. And remember, that point that you've just taken away from us at the bridge could
Yeah,
be the point that gets you to second or
we saw
gets you to,
100%. Saw it with us and
yeah.
Arsenal, and I think it's going to be much of the same this season. I think Arsenal, Spurs, and Chelsea have all strengthened significantly, and I think that we're going to be much more formidable against the top six teams and the lower tier opponents because we've all strengthened and obviously have got more depth. I think a lot of the other teams might battle in terms of the now it being a World Cup year and having 5 substitutes, players and managers are going to have the ability to rotate, and that's just going to benefit teams that have better depth in their squad.
Yeah, that's
Big
yeah.
time.
That's and I think with the World Cup coming up, a lot of these players are fired up for the World Cup.
Yeah,
The tricky part is going to be after the World Cup. What happens? What because remember they playing most of them are playing to make the national sides. But after the
yeah,
World Cup, keeping them inspired that hey, listen, you still have 5 more months that you need to push for the league. It's going to be a
Yeah.
tricky one. But yeah, the two sets of fans that are coming out of the woodworks are Spurs and Arsenal fans. I've never seen
Yeah.
so many Arsenal fans post. Even Arsenal TV is boring these
yeah.
days.
Yeah. Hey,
Arsenal, I've been a Spurs supporter in the dark days, boy. I wear my Spurs shirts when we get drubbed 6-0 by Manchester City, boy.
I don't know
I hear
stress,
you.
man. It happens.
Cucurella,
It
that's a
happens.
signing and a half.
Yeah, Cucurella is nice, man.
But he
Yo,
needs to cut his
Cucurella,
hair, but he's a signing and a half.
He looks like Kenny G. Doesn't he look like Kenny G, guys?
Nah, from from certain angles, he looks like Fellaini.
I know Kenny G, dog. Kenny G. Let me
Nah, I
see if
think
I can find a picture of Kenny
he needs to
G.
cut his hair. I think if this continues, because I think a lot of players are seeing a loophole in that it's not in the law book, by the way, that you can't pull an opponent by your hair.
Hey guys, you guys forgot to mention what's this Ruben Loftus-Cheek's performance, man.
Yeah, it was
Yo,
good.
Hey,
Yeah,
dude,
you played well,
yo,
yeah,
bro.
I
I
know he
was
played.
so when I saw him
He
on the
played.
lineup, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, you played well. And you
He
played
played
well.
I saw him on the
extremely
lineup, I
well.
was very nervous. Eh? I was very, very
Uh,
nervous.
I think
And
right
then
wing
he
back
put a
is his
minute and a
position from
half.
now on.
So Son didn't really have what are you pulling now?
Cucurella,
you,
guys.
you're an idiot, X.
He is. It looks like Kenny G.
And now you have to explain who Kenny G is to all the millennials watching now.
Yeah, he's a legend, bro. That's all I can say. Kenny G is an elite saxophonist, and yeah, it does look like Kenny G. Like, but But yeah, you are right, Mike. Loftus Cheek balled out. I was like, wow, okay. You've got
Seen it-
feet now today. Huh?
I've
You
seen
know
that
how
boy,
to.
a baller for a long time. He's had that raw potential, and I think that the more he plays, the more game time he gets. I think you're going to see more from that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
but
think it's
gotta
it's a
play
good
in his position, right wing back. Don't put
going
him in the
forward.
middle. Yeah, right wing back.
Going forward. No, but I think he was there just to block off because you saw the tactic that was used where Reece James was tracking Son, even if Son like literally goes all the way in his own half. Reece James was literally just following him right through. And then what's his name? Ruben would just cover that particular
Nah, but
position.
he was playing like a
Sessegnon in the first
central
half.
mid right wing back position. Too.
Yeah, Sessegnon didn't have any. The only chance he had was in the first 10 minutes, I think. There's that
Yeah.
save that Mendy pulled off. But
It's a-
besides that, I don't remember anything Sessegnon.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
true.
it's under Conte, but I still think Perisic just. I think he's just giving him some time to bed into the team. I think Perisic is going to take that spot from Sessegnon. But I've seen improvements in a lot of players under Conte. I mean, Dyer and Sessegnon have come on dramatically. Benson Kerr goes missing in big games. I mean, I haven't seen enough from that. So I'm very eager to see Basuma fit into that team and just take that role because he's a baller,
Yeah.
boy. I want that boy to solidify that first team spotter.
Oh yeah, there's a question for you, Byron. If
Oof, that's
Kane
a
ends
tough
the
one, eh?
season without a trophy, do you think he wastes his career at your club at this point?
So, I mean, even last season or the season prior, when City were interested in Kane, I think if you're any realistic Spurs supporter, you number one believe that players will move on to greener pastures to achieve things, and number two, you don't begrudge them for that because I wouldn't begrudge Harry Kane. I mean, we've been blessed to have him in the team, blessed to see a striker of his caliber at our club, and I wouldn't begrudge him to go on and win things. I think at number one depends on the manner that he does it and how legacy behind, because if he goes on good terms and he's not one of these people that like doesn't pitch up to training and he's not professional about it like we were seeing in the media at the time, then it leaves a sour taste. Like I'm all for a player going on to achieve things at other clubs if there's nothing, if it's not on the cards. With Conte, I believe we've got one of the best managers in the world that's capable of winning trophies. He just needs to get the right backing from the club itself. I mean, he's arguably got one of the best stadiums, the best training facilities. He's in one of the best cities. He needs to get back financially, and if he doesn't get to do it, then I'm you know what? I wouldn't begrudge Harry Kane to go on to win things and go to other clubs. Not at all. I would think that you would want to, but I think a player like Harry Kane wants to leave a legacy. So I would think he'd want to go to an English club so you could beat Alan Shearer's record.
Oh yeah, because he's
And-
one behind Aguero right now, or level.
Yeah.
Isn't he level with Aguero?
Oh yeah, he scored. He scored over the weekend.
Yeah,
he was
scored,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes,
And-
man, that's
And
why doesn't he
and
just?
this is a
Yeah, sorry.
no, and this is it's a simple question to everyone. Each of your clubs, what's a successful season looking like?
I would say realistically for us, finishing in the top four and winning maybe one of the cups, whether it's the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, something that has a trophy attached to it. I mean, we to compete in the Champions League. I don't want to be one of those teams that drop out of the group stages. You know what I mean? To put on a bit of a run in the Champions League. I know that, you know, within the Champions League itself, anything can happen. You've seen stories like Porto or whatever, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. The caliber of that competition is what it is, and you don't win the Champions League.
And Champions League nights are different, eh?
Yeah,
They're not like Thursday night football.
No, 100%, Bruce. So I would say say that.
Sorry, X.
Yes,
Shame.
yo, hey,
Throwing
man.
shame. It's not easy, boy.
And
Let
always,
man off. He's had a tough weekend.
yo, guys, it's been a bad weekend.
and then
you know.
for you, X, what's a successful season?
Finish the top six again.
Nah,
That's what
Not possible.
win Europa.
That is possible. Arsenal lost 3 games and then came back and nearly finished in the top 4.
I want
Nothing's in
Europa League,
Leicester
bro. I
were
want
5,000 to 1 to win the league. They had just been almost relegated the season prior and won the league. So nothing's impossible in football.
yeah. Yeah, I'd say
I love the belief you have in Man United. I don't share the same
Nah,
sentiment. Yeah. X, you wanna win Champions League? Also, you wanna
Yo,
win the Thursday night?
Europa League.
dude, when you win Europa League, you qualify for
You
Champions
qualify for
League.
Champions
Yeah.
League. Yeah.
So that's the aim for me. Can we just win it? It's nice. Like when last did I see my team win a trophy? Like it's been a while,
And then
man.
league position,
League
and you being
position,
realistic, because I know you. You're
realistically,
different from those
top
Man
six,
United
bro.
fans.
Top six, bro. We can make top six. Top six. And I did tell you guys from jump that top six is where it's at. Because I
Mike,
mean, yeah.
Ah, Champions League and the league.
Hey, thank you, Mike.
And you know what I
yeah, I'm in
said?
agreement. I'm in agreement with
It's
Mike.
just
Yeah,
our team is good. We just need to all come together and start praying with these guys know how to finish, especially the
yeah.
forward line. But yeah, like I think prior to the game, I didn't necessarily. I was like, let's see what's gonna happen with Tuchel. But after watching that game, it's like, you know what? We can beat any team, and I think we can beat the likes of City. We can beat the Liverpool. I mean, even last season, the only difference between us and Liverpool was finishing. You know, we're a good team, dude. It's just, yeah, I think league is possible as well as Champions League. You know, rather than that, yeah, I think even like, I mean, if you guys watched even this past weekend with Man City, we know Haaland only had 8 touches the whole game.
Hmm.
So he might not
Yeah.
actually, like, there is a chance because he might not actually be, how do I say, he might not actually suit that Man City team.
Haaland.
Yeah, he only
Yeah.
had 8 touches.
But the thing is that guys never
Yeah.
ever judge a City player from the first
The
season.
No,
first
but like
season,
his
that's what
finishing is world
everyone said
class.
about Jack. That's what everyone said about Jack. That's
Yeah,
crap.
that's what they.
Anyway,
Yeah, I know,
just
bro.
on that,
Cancelo
just
used
on
to
that,
be
I
a
was
pop right back. Look at him now.
yeah,
Cancelo's
I was
oozing.
thinking about who's gonna win, who's gonna be the top scorer, and you know who I thought of? Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good
Because
shout.
everyone is focused on Nunes, on Darwin Nunes and Haaland. And I think watching Jesus over the weekend, if they can keep him fit, I think he's got a shot in being the leading goal scorer. Because he's guaranteed time if he's fit.
Yeah, I know that's true, dog. That is true. Yeah, and Mike, in closing, is a question for you.
Yeah, Mike was hurting.
Yeah,
That boring Everton game really hurt Mike, and he said Tuchel out.
yeah,
I think now,
No,
yeah, he's
dude,
come to
look,
his
I mean,
senses.
he doesn't play. Sometimes, look, what I can give to Tuchel is like big games he rocks up. You know,
yeah,
against the small games, I think he just needs to go back to like play forward the back against small teams because that's essentially the teams we usually struggle against. But I mean, think about it. I mean, big games we rock up. Even I mean, Modric even last year was like, you know what, the toughest team he's played was against Chelsea. So I think big games, yeah, we rock up, but it's small teams, and I think, yeah,
Like Man
dude,
United. Man United just know how to beat us.
Yeah, but it's also
these
it's
small teams, nah.
I was saying the
Mm,
reason they don't beat the small teams is because you don't have players up front scoring the goals that you need to.
yeah,
true.
Like
True.
that's what the small teams are there for. They're there to make your life a living hell. That's there. The Premier League is what it is because those teams are so competitive. The Brentfords, the Brightons, all of these teams that you go up and
Why do you
they
have
have
to name those two teams, Byron?
because those two are about to play again, my boy. Every is going to go there and it's going to be tough for them because they just the managers number one are great and the team have a philosophy that they buy into and play well to. They play for each other, they play well defensively, well organized, they're great at set pieces generally, and they can hurt you sometimes. Counter, some of them are built up to that. So if you're not on your best and you don't have players that can expose spaces or score goals out of nothing, it's tough for the top teams to be consistent like that, and that's why Liverpool
Very
and City in have been so strong, dominant in the league, because us three, and I said this prior to where you are now, but even Arsenal, have not been able to expose the smallest teams as much as it should have been. And that's the
Yeah.
gap.
Yeah.
And honestly, from
Yeah,
my
that's true.
side, and I know that there are no quality strikers on the market at the moment. I'm just hoping Barcelona does us a favor and sell us two players, Aubameyang and Frankie, because Jorginho yesterday, yeah. But yeah, if you can get Aubameyang is a proven EPL goal scorer. Old as he is, he's got a few goals in him. I just need him to give us minimum 18 goals.
But who's he gonna be benching for? Who's gonna bench for Aubameyang?
Yeah, rotate. That's why you've got 5 substitutes. It's going to be a long season. Champions League is starting next month. That's the other thing you have to think of.
And
Yeah.
all they need to
It's
do
the
is
earliest. It's the earliest it's ever started.
Tuchel just needs to hit, like, I think after every day, they need to have a training session where the forwards
After
stay
the
next
game.
an hour. Then
After
Rhys
the
James
game.
can teach them how to shoot too.
Or just put Rhys James as your
Extra,
striker.
no,
Put
I
him as
mean,
your striker.
extra. I think that's just what's needed, dude. Like, we cannot have these guys still playing at the same level, like they shooting stats still at the same level till today. You know what I mean? Those guys need to stay an extra hour, practice finishing drills.
Yeah. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt, guys. Yeah, man. I think we've covered everything that I wanted us to discuss. But yeah, thank you so much, gents, for availing yourselves. Much appreciated. Hopefully, Byron, you can feature more often, bro, because you I know you're a busy man, dog. But hey, dog, like it's
Just
nice
X
having
before
in
before
place.
before you close it off.
Yeah.
A quick question: are you brave enough for a watch along next Monday?
Ish.
He's telling me he's got plans.
Ish, dog.
It's a simple
I won't
question. It's a
lie.
yes, no. I said, are you brave enough? I didn't say let's have a watch along. I said, are you brave enough?
Nah,
That's it.
I need to study, bro. Yeah. Nah.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah. I just thank you so much. I always forget to say like, comment, share, subscribe from Jump. But please remind me next time, Sisha, like just
Will
yeah.
do.
Even though it's at the bottom there, yeah. This is Easy Sports. We are peace
Peace.
out, gentlemen.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.